think that Bob Marley did that. So I think tomorrow we will do something to clarify this particular topic as to what Bob Marley did, the children he had, and blah blah blah. Because the Jamaicans and the Rastafarians are getting angry right now because Legit probably said something they didn't want. So tomorrow we will find out what the archives are saying about the life of the legendary Bob Marley, and then we will clear the airwaves. So hold your peace, and then you can phone in tomorrow also to tell us what you know about the legend Bob Marley. Legit is a born Jamaican, so some way somehow he's defending his own people and he feels he knows more. So call us and tell us that you know Bob Marley when he was born, you were there some. Anyway, so this is the part where we talk about something very interesting and insightful. We're looking at the impact and the essence of technical education here in Ghana and how it has been neglected. Other people would say. I have with me in the studio that now Eric Agyemang. I would love to add Prempe to it because in the Ashanti region, Agyemang comes with Prempe, Agyemang Prempe. And this morning he said he was asking me that, Jane, in what capacity am I speaking today? I said, no worry. Today we are putting no somewhere, but then you feature small. And he's also a businessman, so a young investor and all that. We're looking at entrepreneurship and aligning it to technical and vocational education. They will say TVC. Good morning, Eric. How are you?
Good morning, Jane. I'm fine.
And you look dapper in your jacket.
Thank you.
I have with me our news editor at Campus TV, second in command. When I'm not there, she's there. But the way now she there for me. When she's acting, it's as if we should leave everything to her. But she's doing quite a good job, and we are so proud of her. MFA Marwin, MFA, thank you so much for coming once again. Since you're a news editor, we assume we know so much, so we have to be here. Today we're looking at technical education. First of all, when we talk about technical education, some of us then, when we didn't really like reading, we got to think that, oh, technical education for I mean those who don't really matter and are not brilliant. What is technical education to you?
Good morning.
Good morning.
And obviously same to your cherished viewers across the country. Let me correct some things more with your addition of Prempe, Nana Agyemang Prempe. You know that's actually the name of the NADMO coordinator, national.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I remain Eric Nana Agyemang before I get into trouble. Anyway, technical and vocational education obviously falls out of the mainstream education. You know, you go to SHS, you get to do the main courses, and tertiary, you get to do the Lagos, the KNUST. But as the name even suggests, technical and vocational. It is technical and vocational in nature. And they get to do more of the practical and not what we have been complaining about as a country, you know, having more of our education being book-centered.
MFA, you went out yesterday to talk to some people, and also the people who really does what we talk about technical in Ghana. How was the impression when you stepped out yesterday?
Well, some of them are very sad, especially we spoke to some of the students at Accra Technical University. According to them, most of these days, our technical universities have been turned into universities. So meaning the focus on technical institutions are very low. So they said there's no future for technical institutions in Ghana. Because if they want to see a future for technical institutions, government has to get them involved. Government has to provide for them what they need to get the works done. Then they have to get them involved in, according to most of them, the free education that most secondary sectors are enjoying. They are not added. They are not involved with the free SHS.
Wow.
And yes, some said when government take decision, it's only based on secondary school, universities, and so now it's pushing most of the youth into this white collar job, going to the universities, seeking for a white collar job, and they have neglected all the technical institutions. So the responses were so bad. We didn't get any positive response yesterday.
Just before we go and take the response from the people, talk about white collar job, like the way you looked up in your suit. I think that you're one of the reasons why no one wants to go and do technical and vocational.
Very sure.
When we talk about technical and vocational institution, as in, you said that their block is not under NUS necessarily.
Yes.
Why? Should we be worried if they were under your auspices? Would it have gotten better or something?
Clearly, because if they were to be one of the 6 blocks under NUX, they would obviously have the National Union of Ghana students, waging some fights on their behalf. But because they are not part of us, we become a bit reserved, even when we want to fight for them. So I think that maybe this should initiate a national dialogue on, technical and vocational education to getting them as a block under NUCS.
When you go outside, when you travel to Canada and US and other countries, they place so much value on people who go into technical and vocational stuff, because if your car breaks down, you need someone to fix it. And those are the people we use in building society architecturally. Do you think that in Ghana we don't pay them well?
Before I even get to, they being employed and they're being paid well, you look at the number of technical and vocational institutions we have in Ghana, a number of 154, as against the many, secondary schools we have in this country. So clearly, even from that level, you know that they are being, discriminated of a sort. And when they come out to, as you said, even in your intro, they are considered perhaps dull students. And that is very, even highly indicative of, the low investment government, past and current, have made into that sector. So moving forward, I think it's one perception we need to cure. And that has fueled how they even get paid. Because if we are considered as a dull student, then who really wants to, pay you that high?
Okay, before I come to MFA, as a young investor, do you think that most of our investment policies are geared towards secondary education, and they don't really come? It was the whites then, the Casley Hayfords and the people, the missionaries. They began tertiary. They actually fueled what tertiary technical and vocational education was all about, because they would bring people to teach them carpentry and to do that. Do you think that in Ghana, primarily, investors don't really put high value on technical vocational education? Talk about you being a young investor.
Absolutely. But we can even pardon them as investors. But I believe that if for nobody at all, the government should take the lead in making sure that they are encouraged. And you look at the rolling out of free SHS. Clearly, even though it's a good policy, it has become a major disincentive to technical and vocational schools. Because here's the thing, as a student, even if you want to get into a technical or vocational institution, and you are done with JHS, do you think your parents going to allow you? Especially when it's at a time that SHS is free. So certainly, I believe that the government should take the lead, and then other investors would follow.
MFA, we are relating technical vocational education to one district, one factory. Do you think that looking at the structure of our technical vocation as an arena for job employment, do you think that the job market is ripe for 1D, 1F, aligning it to technical vocation?
Okay, so I think that this technical vocation, they look at the practical aspects. So this season, this is the time that they are needed most. Because if you can just go to school, I think theirs is 3 years. So yes, 3 years. So when you go to school for 3 years, you are learning practicals. Unlike the SHS, you are going to read a whole books for the whole 3 years and then write an exam before proceeding to the university. They are going to do the real practicals. They are practicing what they are learning there. So they come out to be masters on themselves. So if the government can look at it from this angle and then encourage them, provide them the necessary needs to establish even business on their own, it will even help. It will help. Not talking about one district, one factory. We want people at work, not training people to.
We don't need people in suits like Eric.
No.
We need people who can put on
and
their
one funny thing is
he's a paper and a pen.
You are fighting for the technical institutions.
We are fighting you right now.
I just hope sometime I'll be given the time to come in on that.
Yeah, he's always in white collar job. White color, like he also
white
dressed. So what is the motivation coming from?
Is it the perception I'm talking about? Is that to also suggest that those into technical and vocational education should not?
No, they usually engineers have what they wear.
Yes.
and all that. If you are employed at any of the factories the Kufado is about to build, if I come down, not seeing anything.
Of course, but that is the workplace. That is the workplace. So
okay, so MF Amawing, our senior reporter and our news editor, assistant news editor, of course, stepped outside to ask Ghanaians of their perception when it comes to technical and vocational education. And she actually had the opportunity to interact with people who are doing the groundworks. I mean, the people who are really doing the groundworks when it comes to technical and vocational education. So let's take a listen to that. I think people are calling.
Technical institutions are now being turned into universities. Does that mean that we don't have a future for our technical institutions? Well, we are on the streets of Accra seeking the views of people concerning technical institutions.
It is a two-sided coin answer. Yes, we have a future depending on the curriculum we are operating in the various technical institutions. No, because nowadays most of the young people have gotten the perception that white-collar job pays much than the dirty job in quotes they are studying. Typically, someone learns auto mechanic and he is looking for a job in a well-known automobile company to go and sit in an office right inside. But forgetting that he has learned the practicals in the school and have to go on the field to get more experience to be able to do something. But I don't blame the young people. I blame the elderly ones, because if you have a son or a daughter at home and you're always like, person you're crashing in, I want you to be a gentleman. You are letting the child to have a certain perception that technical job is not a crutchy, it's not a gentleman work, but it's for those who are less privileged or those who are less knowledgeable in school who goes to learn these technical skills. And that is also another aspect. But that is where I have a problem with COVET, where we have the Council for Technical and Vocational Institutions. What are they doing? Our curriculum, is it really integrated that when I come out practically I can exhibit what I have learned in school? Do we have the structures to accommodate those who come up from the technical institution? And to talk of upgrading them into university, what is the rationale? Will the technical aspect still be there for those who want to really get the technical skills to have it? Or it is going to be the bachelor degree whereby it will be theory, later practical, come out, then they come to struggle for the little white collar jobs in the system?
Halfly, because most of the courses that are being taught in the technical schools, some are cake. But because it takes a long process for the government to reshuffle and change some of the courses, so like it makes getting work very difficult for some of us. Like they say some courses are not useful, but some are useful. And that also hinders us, most of us who have just completed school, in getting jobs. It's very hard because they say that these courses are too common and that it's very hard to get jobs. One is marketing. Most people think that because we have thousands of people who are doing marketing, and like it's very hard to get job these days because people think you can also talk like audibly like about your product and you can get customers. So what's the need of going to study marketing again? Yeah.
It's very good, but then in Ghana, I don't see that Ghanaians take very good care of their technical staff. It's just recently that we see that the technical institution, the tertiary ones, are even being turned into universities. But as you see, they are only turned into, that's just the only name. The name is just putting on them. And there is nothing that even shows that they are being attended to. If you go to the technical institutions, Takrady University, Accra Technical University, they've only turned it to ATU, TTU, and Cape Coast Technical University, CTU. But There is nothing to show.
Well, I would say no for technical institution, because if all a country in which all the youth are flying outside, it means the country itself as a whole don't have a future. So if we are to invest more in our technical institution, put measures in place for some of the students to develop interest in technical institution, it will benefit the nation as a whole. Then the future of our nation will be stronger. Because some of the countries were built based on technical institutions. China, for instance, Japan, for instance. So if we are making more emphasis in our technical institution, I think at the end, the future will be bright for us.
Yes, it depends on how government is going to structure them. Because currently we have lots of graduates unemployed. So if we are able to get a technical know-how, how to be doing our own stuff, like those in the arts. You see, technical education is mostly about craftsmanship and all those. So if you are able to create our own things and then establish our own small businesses, and so it will reduce the unemployment rate. So if government is to focus on the technical education, we will go along with Ghana has a future.
You heard the views from the audience all. Some said they lack government support. Now, this is what a technical brain can produce. Let's encourage students and the youth to get more engaged in technical institutions. My name is Maui Emefa Anyomi, reporting live for Campus TV.
Okay, so the house even got more interesting as Eric and MFA. Hey, MFA says she has a pepper question for Eric. Eric also said that no, but I'm not the right person. So MFA, go ahead with your question. But that was the box swap from MFA Maui. She's here. She got to interview some of the students. Students. I mean, field work. She went there to ask people about what they think. But I don't mind, because as a woman, if something happens to my fridge, something happens to my door, if you have a boyfriend who is good with technical stuff, it helps. And that's how every day you call on a plumber, you call on. Eric doesn't look like someone who can even fix a door for you. All he knows is book and pen. So MFA, let's talk about the question you have for Eric.
Okay, so when you look at the vox pop, okay, some people raise the views of some of the subjects they study are cake, and they are seeking the support of government. So what is the institution itself doing to better themselves? That's what I want to know.
Ask him.
Mr. Eric.
Ask him.
And while I should put on record that for sure, I'm certainly not the right person.
I'm sure you know something.
Let me say that
It's exciting.
I've been in a private conversation with one headmaster of a technical and vocational somewhere down somewhere, and I don't want to put the name out here. And what he told me was he's trying to rebrand the school. He's making it a college now.
Hey,
yes.
Because people don't come.
Yes, people don't come. So when you hear college, at least on the surface of it, it's attractive. So that is why he told me he's
doing. College, are they going to change the subject? The archaic ones.
Oh, basically the same thing. Basically the same
thing.
Okay,
so our phone lines are open. You can call us right now. Eric is here. Just like MFA has so many questions for him. I'm sure you in the house too. There are some questions you want to call. You called earlier. Lots of calls came, but we are sorry that wasn't the time for calls. So now you can call us again to talk about what you think about technical and vocational education in Ghana. Hey, see the way I'm rhyming. Technical, vocational education. If you don't take your time, you bye now. So let's look at the state of it. Call us if you are in school studying that course. If you have a friend, if you have a boyfriend, tell us about your experience. How do people see them and all that? MFR. So no, let me go to Eric now.
Let me refer us to Act 718, which was passed in 2006. Establishing the CODVET, that is Council for Technical and Vocational Education and Training. But it appears they are sleeping on the job, because they are in charge of even accreditation of technical and vocational education.
We have a caller on the line who wants to talk to us. So good morning, your name and where are you calling from?
Good morning, my name is Joseph, calling from Agyemang.
Oh, wow, I like your voice this morning. It's very soothing. It's calming my nerves right now. What do you have to say about the technical and vocational education?
The fact is that technical institutions in Ghana are having a lot of problems. Actually, I had one experience with one of the polytechnic students. Also, he completed school and then he came to me. My brother, I would like you to help me to know how to wire a single room. I said, wow, electrical students finish polytechnic, we cannot wire even a single room. You see? Though I have never been to any of the technical institutions, polytechnic before, but then when I meet those graduates on the field of work, they know nothing about the work. They will ram you about the speaking, blah, 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 these are the same fancies, but when you give the thing to them to perform,
they can't do
there's
it.
a lot of
Thank you
problems.
very
So
much.
I would be very glad if a government can focus on the practical aspect of the whatever they are learning in the polytechnic
Sure.
schools.
Sure. Wow. I mean, that's a very awesome contribution there, Joseph. Thank you so much. I like what he said. Hey, so
So many they are seeking for help. They are not even doing anything.
like Eric, he can't wire a simple.
And that is he. They are even considered technical and vocational now, and this is what is happening. And now they have been converted from technical universities to mainstream universities.
I wanted to talk about
and
that.
they feel better with that.
Can you imagine?
You
And they are studying HR and
yes.
other reading courses.
And it's terrible. It's terrible. As a country, we continue to admit that technical and vocational education is the best way to go. Yet, our actions, betray
all
those,
of a sudden now we don't have a car poly, we don't have Kumasi poly. They don't want to hear the word poly.
No.
If you dare say the word poly to them, no. It is
Yes.
Accra Technical University. Anyway, so let's talk about infrastructure. Could it mean that maybe the facilities they use in doing the training, because I studied linguistic science, and at KNUSC we had no lab that had esophagus, the glottis, and when you go outside, other departments, they have the human body with what do you call it, wirings in it, so they can talk, you can know the pitch it's going, you can measure the whatever. And here in Ghana there's nothing like that. So if you study linguistics and you're using your mind and everything to do it, even though I can look at your nerves right now and look at how angry you are getting, you can lie on someone, I can listen to the audio and tell whether it's your voice or we did our best because we had to go to the court to be taught those things. But practically, could it be that there are no facilities and machines to train our technical guys? That's why they become redundant right now. Let me give it to MFA.
I'm sure, but for the technical school that I know, it's not in Accra though, but it's in the Volta region. They have the facilities, not all though, but they have the needed ones. That's, let's say carpentry, they have all the tools that they need to do, and
they
then
have a collar. But talk.
So they have, some of them have it, but some don't have. For instance, the other day we went to a program held at. So I tried talking to some of the students. Some said they read books and then
you see,
and they don't have. She said she's studying what? She mentioned the course.
Don't worry.
But she said since she came to the school, she's not getting the time to practically.
MFA, because of this topic, when I go to Kumasi, I go to KTI. Some of the machines at KTI was when Nkrumah gave. As I now, Mr. Young Investor, the machines there and everything, it is just by the grace of God that they're able to study.
So that comes back to the point I was making, the establishment of CODVET to oversee the accreditation, supervisory, and quality assurance, elements of
assurance.
Yes, elements of, because they regulate technical and vocational education, but they are sleeping on the job, and you certainly can't fault them because they are inadequately financed and resourced.
So what is the qualification of this technical and vocational school? What are the qualifications of the teachers?
MFA should have hosted you on this particular topic.
I guess so.
I want to know the qualification of the teachers in this school.
See, last time I made a point that the qualification into a technical or vocational institution should be pegged at the same level with qualifications into secondary school.
Yeah.
Because for them, even if you get 30, 37, they will still take you. And that's been dwindling, their performance and all that. And that obviously has fueled the perception that they are dull students. So moving forward, it's one thing that they need to do. And their teachers, obviously, some are not even professionally trained.
Strong
that are not even professionally trained. And we're in serious trouble as a country as far as technical.
Yes, I was going to
and
ask you.
vocational
Thank you very
concerned.
much. MFA, what do you think the future looks like when it comes to technical and
No,
vocational education in Ghana?
The future isn't bright. It's really bleak for them.
Mm.
Because even if the teachers teaching them are not professional, as in quote, they don't have certain qualifications. So what are they producing? Because if you can go to school for 3 years and you can't even wire your own room, you have to seek for assistance from someone. We are going there for practicals and you don't have the tools to help you do what you are here to do. Does the future hold? The future is really bleak for us. So I think the school itself, the management, and then the teachers themselves have to start something. As the saying goes, heaven helps those who help themselves. If you are seeking for the help of the government,
Thank God you said it's a saying because it's not
It's
scripture.
not in the
scripture.
Bible,
I
yes.
know it's not scripture. So if you are seeking the help of the government and you yourselves, you can't do anything to better yourselves. Oh, I don't
Eric,
think it's
the future, does it look
They
good?
they're actually in a helpless
Does it
state.
look good for 1D, 1F?
helpless place.
Does it
Well, I
look
can't comment
does it
on
look
that.
good for because if you don't take the 1D, 1F, it is the people who doesn't really go to technical and
Yeah, the
vocational school that
mainstream,
would.
the Lego Nines, KUST people.
And
you know.
also, if they will pick, if they will pick even the people who are into technical stuff, they will pick the normal people who didn't go to school.
Yeah.
So, what do you think is the future? Your last words, the future.
The future, we will continue to hope for the best. And I'm sure that if you're able to get things right, I'm not sure you'll be going to China to import a chair for our MPs in parliament. If we have academically and professionally trained, technical people, carpenters, I mean, to, be producing those things. And again, one problem, contributing factor, a minor one, I should say, to the overcrowding problem of the free SHS, for which reason the government has introduced the double track, has been the high non-patronage of technical and vocational education.
Because of the branding,
Yes.
basically.
And SHS is also free now, so people obviously don't want to go to the technical. So moving forward, I would suggest to the government to extend the free education to the technical and vocational schools, and that would encourage students who passionately want to get into such a thing. Because as you recall, there was a time in the history of this country where we felt, and it remains as such too, that the doctor, nurse and patient ratio is terrible, for which reason the government introduced the nursing trainee allowance to encourage students to get into nursing to help better our medical sector. And so as a country, we can also sit again and settle on the fact that technical and vocational education is the best way to go. And as such, we should also make the education free for them.
Wow. No wonder he's the press secretary. My God, he can really talk very well. But of course, he's a politician, so he's been trained to do so. So yes, we had divergent angles of the story. News editor telling us what she sees when she goes on field, and a young investor as well as a student leader telling how things look like from his angle. People were calling, but because of time, we can't speak. I'm sure lots of people had questions for him. When I get him here, I never want him to go, without us being strict and sincere on some topics. So this is where we draw the curtain for the segment. We would run up, but we will be wrapping up with entertainment and lifestyle segments with the man with Jerry Chaos, Gabby Rhymes, and also Legit Emmanuel. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a jiffy.